Joining us to talk about the Maize and Blue back in the Sweet 16 is Michigan head basketball coach John Beilein. Coach B, good morning.
Good morning, Sam.
How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Doing great, and glad to be on the ride once again with the Maize and Blue back in the Sweet 16. You forget what it feels like. It had been so long, and here we are 2 years in a row, back-to-back seasons, going to the Sweet 16. And Coach, I got to ask you, I know you get this question a lot before we get into the specifics of the game, but, similarities to last year's run. Do you see any, is there that experience that those guys had last year? Do you see the remnants of that kind of helping you guys on this run again this year?
Well, what I think when you go into these NCAA tournaments, there's this comfort level of just knowing the landscape. I mean, that first time you ever go to the NCAA tournament, between the media interviews and the open practices and the attention and all the extra stuff, it's hard to sort it all out. And last year we had so many guys that it was new to, but the Vogridges and the Bartlesteins and guys like that, Hardaway, they got everybody sort of ready for it, but the best they could. Now it's like flipped over. And for Glenn and Nick and Jordan, John, they've been, Jordan and John have been there 4 straight times. So I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about the distraction. We're comfortable before the game, knowing what's up. And when the game starts, it's just like our regular games. But it could get distracting if you had never been there before.
Mm-hmm. And Coach, I recall, I want to say it was about 2 months ago, we were having a discussion about, and I just talked about this, we're having a discussion about, who's the guy or who are the guys on the team that the other guys look to in moments of adversity, not to score or to make the play, but emotionally to give them that certainty in times of adversity. And at that point you said, it needs to be Jordan and John. It seems like since then that it really is Jordan. You listen to him in his comments after games, you watch him during games. He really looks like the guy. Is that just perception or is that reality?
No, Jordan has really stepped up in many ways, and he's brought up some points to the team. Like when I go into my one of my 5-minute, 4-minute, 3-minute explanation of what we need to do, Jordan will add something that I forgot. So that's really good for him to feel comfortable enough, but also thinking outside the box, or he'll ask about something that's additional. So he's really done a good job with that, and so it's he's been a key right now. He's the outlier right now that probably nobody expected doubles out of him at this time, but he's in his zone right now, and he's not going to stop. He's got another tough task against him this weekend. And he's really looking forward to it, and I love going to war with that young man.
Well, Coach, yeah, you last week or heading into the Texas game, it's very clear that he had a tall task or a wide task in front of him. As
a huge task.
As it was duly noted by you. But his reply seemed to really be indicative of his mindset at this stage, where I remember talking to him, we were talking to him about making – being a 2 seed in a very tough region, and he was like, well, your region's tough, but they have to play us too. Well, Coach, you were saying, hey, we gotta deal with this Ridley guy, and his reply was, hey, Coach, I got him.
Yeah, exactly. I've never seen him have so much confidence in what he can do, and that's in our Big Ten championship game when he was out of the mix virtually the whole game in foul trouble. I mean, that's a huge disadvantage for us in that game. And so he is. It depends how the games will be called. It depends on a lot of different things. But we need him out there long, and then we got to have John ready as well. With John, if you remember the Illinois game, we went to Illinois, and Jordan fell and was basically had very little minutes, and John wasn't looking over his shoulder, and John was tremendous. So we got to get John to play like for more minutes. And in the event Jordan does get in trouble, I mean, it's not about John right now. It's about Jordan playing so well. You don't want him out of the lineup very long.
All right, so, Coach, we're talking to John Beilein here on the Michigan Insider on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com. Kind of talk us through a few things, because you guys were unbelievable offensively in the first half. And then they come out, they throw a zone at you in the second half. I thought you guys really got good looks in that zone, but the follow through, the making of the shots wasn't necessarily there. I'm curious, was that just not making shots, or was that something that Texas was doing? Because I look back at the last few games, going back to the Big Ten tournament, Illinois kind of did the same thing, and we weren't as effective in the second half as the first.
Well, when we're really being effective like that, and both Illinois and Texas do not play much zone. So all of a sudden we're really clicking with our man, and people are doing some things. So they chose, especially on little rest, we can't get ready for all this stuff. So we're just going to throw the zone and make them play differently. And sometimes it's, Derek hit a couple threes right out of there, and then we had like 2 or 3, point blank 10-footers that we missed, and they converted. And then things get a little tighter. All of a sudden, oh, man, we can't miss again. I think Zach came in, had a wide-open shot, the same shot they made in the first half, missed it. And they can swing very quickly on you. But over time, those guys will figure it out. And so you could have it easy. I mean, it's all it takes is 3 times down the court. They score and you don't. And a 16-point lead can become a 9-point so quickly. And as a result, we just got to, over time, I don't think we're going to lose all 16 points.
Mm-hmm.
You could, but over time you just adjust. Everybody gets comfortable. The coaches and the players see, okay, now we see the soft spots. Let's attack there. And once they got more comfortable with it, and we saw some of the things they were doing, they really attacked well.
Yeah, you saw a lot about the mental and physical toughness of your team in the second half when they're making that run. You got Jordan and guys battling down. No, they got some boards, but Jordan was battling down low. And then you get big clutch plays from a guy who, early in the season, maybe you aren't expecting that from, but late in the season, Glenn Robinson has made a number of big plays and clutch situations for you.
He really is. You go all the way back to the Stanford game. And the one-on-one play he made against Stanford. Stanford's pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
And now this is the 5th time now that I can recall that there was the game, the momentum was shifted with a Glenn Robinson play. That's Trey Burke, Tim Hardaway stuff. The momentum shifted with one play by Glenn Robinson, and this time it was 2. Now, we haven't seen a runner teardrop from him all year long. It's something we work on. He goes with a runner, sort of a teardrop, over the outstretched hands of the shot blocker. And then he comes back, and then because of the zone they were playing, we couldn't get Nick shots. So we said, okay, we can't get Nick shots, but Nick can get other guys shots. So just give him the ball, give him some action, let him play ball. And he found Glenn, and Glenn knocked another one in. That was Ohio State. That was Indiana, right in the right side there. It was Ohio State, Indiana, and now the game against Texas. Glenn comes up big.
All right, so you go into this Tennessee game, Coach. Not only does John have a big burly guy to contend with, so too does Glenn. Tell us about what you've seen from Tennessee thus far on film.
Well, what I do see, and I mentioned it last night on the my radio show, that they got a bunch of guys that are grinders and been there for a long time. They got 2 guys on this team that played 1 and 2 minutes respectively when we were able to beat Tennessee by a lot the last time in the NCAA tournament. So these guys, 4 years, invested time. They keep getting better and better. Just great experience. They'll have some freshmen and sophomores come in the game, but generally they'll have 5 juniors and seniors on the court the whole game. And so that I see that experience, that strength, that care level that's really high. Like, this is my last chance to win a national championship. So we're going to have a similar attitude against bigger, stronger bodies. So I see that a lot like Texas. Only the one thing that I felt good about our Texas matchup, where they were talented, they were very young, and they were not a great shooting team. So we could do some things to negate them defensively because they weren't a great shooting team. This team this team shoots the ball well enough where you got to guard everybody, and then those 2 big guys down below, or I would think, as those 2 guys are playing football, Tennessee's football program would be in a much better state. They're good. They're really good.
Coach, I know you got to get out of here, so one more before we let you go. I heard you on the John Feinstein show yesterday, and he brought up the topic of Mitch, and you talked about the potential of maybe having done the surgery in November. It almost sounded like he had officially been ruled out for this tournament. So my question is, is it done? Is it over with the possibility of Mitch being back in this tournament, or is there still a possibility that he could return?
We have no plans for Mitch to play.
Okay, there you
Simple
have it.
enough?
Simple enough. Simple enough.
Yeah. Plans can change, but we have no plan right now for Mitch to play.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay.
All right, Coach. Appreciate you as always. Good luck down in the Sweet 16, and we'll see you down there.
Sam, thank you very much.
All right.
Regards to Ira. Thank you. Bye.
All right. That was John Beilein. Just when you think you got the certainty, the uncertainty sneaks right back in, right? So
we have no plans, but plans can change.
So
you know what that, Sam, is? Honestly, you know what that is? That is awesome coach speak. That's really what it is. It's awesome coach speak.
So no plans of it happening, but hey, if he
Sam's pipe dream is still not killed yet.
Happens to be well enough, the slim chance, the slight chance that he happens to be well enough, then hey, anything can happen. I tried to give it to you, people. Try that, just the uncertainty is still there. Still a possibility, but it's ever so slim, and this team is not preparing for Willis Reed to come running down the tunnel. All right, so there you go. 8:59 on a Tuesday here on the Michigan Insider. Here's what you know. Boy, the tandem, and especially Jordan Morgan, without those guys rising to the fore and playing above and beyond anyone externally, their expectations, this team isn't where they are. Jordan Morgan is truly a real mental, obviously physical presence, but mental presence for this team.
And it's amazing because he still gets during that interview, he was getting dogged in our email.
Really?
I had people emailing. Apparently, there are still JMO haters out there.
Wow.
They don't understand. They don't
Texas
understand.
Game?
They did. Obviously, they don't know what they're watching.
Okay. Got to get to a break. Back on the other side, we're going to catch up with John Paul here on the Michigan Insider. Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, Ann Arbor, a Cumulus station.